Hey everybody, I'm Carmen De La Paz and welcome to my shop. I'm continuing the series on wood turning and I'm starting from the very beginning. The previous video was what is a lathe? What is a wood turning lathe? And now I want to move on to how do you safely mount a piece of wood onto the lathe. Why? Because when I started wood turning, or even before I started wood turning, when I wanted to learn how to wood turn, that was the one thing that I couldn't find on any video on YouTube. How do I safely mount that piece of wood? I thought maybe I could figure out the chisels and I could get going on the lathe once I got the piece of wood on the lathe, but I knew that because of safety, I needed to know how to do this right. And for that reason, I'm going to show you this as inspiration. So here we go, how to safely mount a piece of wood on the lathe. Before we actually use a chuck, we need to mount the wood safely by finding center as best we can. Here I'm using a center finder. Then I like to use a spring actuated nail set. Basically, it's a coil and on either end it has two pieces of metal that when you pull the coil and they snap back together, the little nail set gets driven into the wood on the other end. I don't have to use a hammer. It's quick and easy and away we go. So I'm going to use the nail set on one side and then the other. Then to ensure that the spur drive is seated into that center, I like to use a mallet. Now note, I usually do this on the floor. I'm just doing it on the lathe so you can see it. So now we've got the divots for the spur drive. We feed it into the headstock via the spindle drive. We bring in the tailstock, securing and pinning it well. Pushing it in just a little bit, and we're ready to go. And then once we've got that piece of wood secure between centers, we're going to start her up. Then with the chisels, we'll balance the wood and go about our process of creating the foot that then coincides with our chuck. Then we're ready to go ahead and put our piece of wood with the foot into our chuck, securing it again by bringing in that tail drive and holding it into place so that we can then find balance once more with the chuck now in place. So now I'm going to take you over to my other lathe and we're going to take a close look at the chuck and options you need to consider before you buy one. And in closing, the most important part about mounting a piece of wood on the lathe is that you really find center when you start from the onset, as best you can. Whether that be a half log, a piece of wood that's already been prepped on the bandsaw, whatever it is, you really want to do yourself the service to try to find the center. Then insert your spur drive and then mount it on the lathe. That alone will save you a ton of work and a lot of heartache and possibly even make you that much safer. So the next video is all about the chuck. We're moving progressively on the lathe. I will get to some fun techniques and yes, I'm going to get to the decorative finishes. But first, I want you guys to be safe, and second, I want you guys who are maybe starting to have information that I was looking for and I couldn't find when I started. Happy turning, everybody.